Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here, returning to you for this new album review that I wanted to get to you guys this morning for. Um, Sorry if I look a little tired, just waking up right now. My voice is still a little cracked. It's probably the prednisone I've been taking, so because of this asthma attack I had last week. So I'm doing better. It's just taking time to heal. So it's just been one of those foggy weeks for me. Like, it's not terrible, but it's just one of those weeks where it's like it goes by like a blur. So pretty much the album review I'm reviewing for you guys this morning is for Pop Evil What Remains, the long-awaited studio album that I've been highly anticipated for to come out. And at least they only dropped 3 singles for this record. So that's a saving grace. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for all 10 tracks, which is a very short runtime of a record, like not even 33 and a half minutes, like 33 minutes and some seconds, and let you know my thoughts on what I think of Pop Evil, What Remains. So let's dive into this album review this morning. So we're going to start with the first track, The Bullet That Missed. Pretty strong track. Really like Lee's vocals in this track. Sounds really good and very catchy track. The mixing is pretty well done in this. I mean, there is electronic work in it, and it over utilizes it a bit, but not in the way you think it's gonna sound bad. It's actually a pretty strong track. One of my favorite opening tracks to this record. So 5 out of 5. Death Walk has grown on me a lot. It's not one of my favorite songs, but it was a song I wasn't sure if I was gonna like. Like, I thought at first I was gonna hate this song for a while, but it tended to grow on me throughout time. It's a grower kind of song, but it's not one of the worst singles. It was the second single for this record's announcement, but overall, I think Death Walk is a 4.5 out of 5. Not one of the best songs, but it's a good song in its own way. It does have some good drum kick style drumming in this song that sounds pretty strong. The drumming is pretty strong in this track, and execution wise, this track did pull it off for what it was going for. 4.5 out of 5. The title track, What Remains, is still my all time favorite song. Still like this one. Great title track for this record, and it's a 5 out of 5. Lee's vocals sound really good. I do come back to this track quite a lot, and it's worth it because it's a great song. So, 5 out of 5. Wishful Thinking is the last single they dropped before this record came out. I know they're going to have a music video for Side Effects, which is the song I'll talk about next, because it is the next song. Wishful Thinking is a pretty interesting track. The verses are pretty strong with slow paced verses, but it's just, sorry, something got in my eye. It's just mostly the execution of the verses are pretty strong, and basically the chorus is the highlight of the track. Sorry, there was something in my eye. It was bothering me. A piece of hair. Probably cat hair or something. So, yeah. Yeah, you hear that, Titan. Sorry, my cat Titan was waking up, and I said cat hair, and he said, kind of thing. But yeah, Wishful Thinking, strong track, great track. I love this song. The mixing is pretty well done, and Lee's vocals sound really strong in this. 5 out of 5. Side Effects is a pretty good one too. I'd give this a 5 out of 5 as well. Um, it is gonna have a music video for it tonight at midnight, but it is pretty strong of a song, and Lee's vocals sound pretty strong with how they're executing, and just the drum work and guitar work is pretty good. It plays it on a good note. And the verses take its time, but at least the chorus is the highlight of the song. So 5 out of 5. Criminal is a strong track too, like this one as well. Um, it's one of the regular songs on the record, and it's pretty good. Lee's vocals sound pretty good, and it's got some good drumming and all that, and guitar work, and the electronic work is pretty solid in this. So 5 out of 5. Enough is Enough is one of my favorites, along with the next one. They're pretty strong tracks. Enough is Enough and Zero to None are pretty strong tracks. But Enough is Enough did have a good chorus hook that I could really grab my attention to. It really grabbed my attention, and I really enjoyed that aspect about when Lee's vocals hit a new high in the end of the chorus. It sounded pretty strong. So 5 out of 5. And the drumming and guitar work was pretty good. Now to Zero to None. Another great song I enjoyed. It's one of my favorites. Definitely a highlight for this record. Got good drumming. It's got good drumming. It's got good guitar work. Lee's vocals are outstanding in this track. In the chorus, he shines pretty well when he's singing the chorus. So really dug this track. 5 out of 5. Knife for the Butcher. It's a weird kind of track. It's very experimental. But it's pretty good. It's just very experimental. The chorus is pretty solid, but I wouldn't say this was one of my all-time favorite songs. I would grasp on and say, oh, well, it's not something I would listen to a lot, but something I'll listen to as I progress through the record. So, to the ending to the album. So, 4.75 out of 5. And finally, Overkill is the closing track to this record. Pretty good closing track in its own way. I think Lee's vocals sound solid enough to keep this record afloat and keep the last track from not being the worst song, but still a strong track in its own way. And I'd give this a 4.75 out of 5 for Overkill. Pretty good song. So overall, production, mixing, and execution wise, I think Pop Evil What Remains was their most hyped album that I was really excited to listen to. I mean, it's pretty good. It's as good as the last record. They stepped it up a little bit, but there were still a few songs I had my critiques about, with Death Walk, Knife for the Butcher, and Overkill being my least favorites. But they weren't terrible, but they were somewhat my least favorite songs. But everything else was pretty strong. 7 out of 10 songs are very good. So I was really enjoying this record from start to finish. It's a very short record, 33 minutes and 20 seconds. So you're not in for a long record from Pop Evil. It's one of their shortest records to date. Shorter than Skeletons, I'll tell you that. And Skeletons was one of my favorites in 2023. It wasn't the best record, but it was a pretty good record. This one is pretty good too, so if I were to give What Remains, the Pop Evil album, a score, I'm going to give it a strong 8.5 out of 10. Pretty good album. I was really hyped to listen to this record, and I'm glad that it didn't fail me, this record. Like, it didn't set up to fail. It put out some good radio-friendly tracks and good bangers. And there were some that were oddballs, but not to the extent where they were terrible. So, yeah, 8.5 out of 10 for Pop Evil What Remains, their new album. I hope you enjoyed this album review this morning, and thank you guys for watching.